Hello everyone and welcome to my playthrough of Rome Total War with a complete conversion mod of Europa Barbarorum. Now before you go away screaming, "Oh, it's a mod, fuck the mod, we hate the mod," let me ask you to give me at least one or two parts to change your mind about this thing. Because Europa Barbarorum is, for me, what makes Rome Total War an insanely good game. It was a great game as vanilla, but now is under Europa Barbarorum is a gem which you should know about and which is great. There's actually a Europa Barbarorum 2 in the making for I believe Medieval 2, which will convert it back to the Roman era of this mod. Now, what is Europa Barbarorum all about? Basically, the people who played Rome Total War, if you understand history a bit and are a fan of it like me, you will find out that a lot of things that are in Rome Total War are not entirely historical accurate, and eventually you will figure out that the game is quite easy. Now, Europa Barbarorum has a larger map, harder map, more units, more historically accurate units, more buildings, more traits, more characters, and pretty much everything was enlarged. There are actually yearly reports of what happened in those years. There are larger descriptions, there are more accurate descriptions. So this mod was focused on making the game as accurate, historically accurate as the engine permitted and as the people were able to put in the game. So let me go ahead and start by telling you who we are going to play. My original idea was play through as Romans, but I I have a friend who is LPing Rome Total War right now. His name is Voland, and I challenged him to play as Numidia, and gave him the right to challenge me as well. And he did, and he has chosen the nation of Hayasdan for this probably short, very short playthrough. Hayasdan is marked in Europa Barbarorum as nigh impossible. The difficulty of nigh impossible nations is very close to what it says here. Unless you are lucky and you have a perfect idea of what you are doing, you will fail. Now, those of you who know me and who are not watching my playthrough for the first time will not be surprised that we will be playing on very hard and very hard. Hayasdan is one of the couple of factions in the game, like the Kase, or which one is it? This one, Sabine, which all start with only one city, which means that we will have very little ability to do anything, and we have to be very careful. Not to mention that we are neighboring Seleucia and a couple of other fun nations like Sauramate, Pontus, where is it? Here. And Ptolemaioi are not far away from us as well. So great. This playthrough, as I said, will probably end up being really short, but I'm up for the challenge. There's another rule which we came up with for this playthrough, and that is that unless you have a character in a city, and I mean a character of your family, not just a unit of any kind, but a real character, you cannot do anything with the city. You can only set the taxes, but you cannot build units, or you cannot build or construct buildings and other fun stuff like that. So this is gonna be really fast playthrough, I'm afraid. But yeah, it's worth mentioning that there is no easier than moderate difficulty nation in Europa Barbarorum, and even the Romans are pretty challenging at times. So is Carthage, and so are other nations. So, yeah. Well, no need to talk about this anymore. I'm gonna read the description of the Hayasdan nation. I'm gonna try to give you a lot of information, as much as is possible in the playthrough. Like we're gonna go for unit descriptions and stuff, because when I watch others playthrough from other people, they usually just skip ahead and do a lot of not rash decisions, but they do not explain them enough. They do not show the units properly. For me, I'm interested in, because Europa Barbarorum revolves all around the historical accuracy, so the descriptions are quite interesting, in my opinion, as are the information given by the game at various places. So, let's go. I'm gonna start with this reading. So, Hayasdan, Arca, we salute you. In the time of uncertainty ahead you will be leading us, and the people look forward to your kingship. We are more or less free of the Seleucid rule, but you should never count them as friends. The nobles are awaiting your visit to their estates, and many a young high noble son in training in the arts of hunting for when you will come. Our people are free, or freer than before. It is true we were a satrapy under Persia, but it was a good life then, and we did not feel any oppression. Now again we have our own king, and perhaps a new greater high will be born. As our Arca, you will lead the host to battle, or send your sons in your stead. The Nakharar and Azat nobles will provide you with the elite troops in your army, the armored catafalques. These men either fight solely as lancers, where their task is to punch a hole through a weak spot in the enemy formations, or as archers who pepper the enemy from afar, and then close in when the battered enemy is tired or try to flee. The estates will also raise Persian cavalry armed in the Median fashion, the tough cavalrymen armed with javelins and tabar axes. They will serve you well in harassing the enemy flanks and pursuing a beaten foe. The lower classes, the Shinakans, will fill the ranks of your infantry. They can be relied on to do their duty, but are no match for the Hellenic phalanx infantry. Remember, Arca, that warfare is an art. You have to know what troops to use during battle, and when to use which troops. No unit is a war-winning force in itself. Catafalques alone against phalangitai is a disaster, as is infantry alone against horse archers. Our kingdom is either on the verge to expand and grow greater, or to fail and be a footnote in history. Your rule barely encompasses all of Haikakan proper, yet with cunning and good use of our armies that can change. To our north, in the Caucasus, there are small mountain kingdoms who are allied to none, and who can be conquered early. North of the Caucasus mountains, there are endless steppes with no strong rulers, but the Sauramata are north of them, and they might impose their rule further south. Should you face them, falling back to the Caucasus could be useful to fight them on your terms, and in the hills, where their cavalry will not have an advantage. To our west, old Persian nobles rule large estates, yet if we attack here, we may come into conflict with the upstart kingdom of Pontus. They might consider us easier prey than the Seleucids or Seleucids, so do not leave your western border undefended. I apologize. To our south are our lords, the Seleucids. Be polite towards them, as their empire is large, and so are their armies. Should they find the mountain passes between our homeland and Syria, poorly defended, they might want to reduce your title to satrap by sending an army or two. Also be wary of rumors from the south. The Seleucids have many enemies. Should they wage war on many fronts, you might be able to grab some land from them. To our east there are more independent rulers, but across the Caspia, Tawasa, the Pahlavan roam. We have to check that one as well. They may not be an enemy to us now, but keep an eye on the coast of Caspia, Tawasa, to see if any Pahlavan armies approach. Know your neighbors and understand your armies, and our people will be remembered in the annals of history. Where is the Pahlava? I forgot about those. I'm bad with these symbols. Oh yeah, Pahlava is here. Didn't we click them before? I'm not sure. Pahlava is, I believe, one of our allies at the beginning. But anyways, Hayasdan lies on the very eastern border of where the Roman Empire reached. For most of its history, when we look at the interactions with the Roman Empire, apart from the trade and research and other exchange, Hayasdan was a client kingdom of the Romans. For some time, a couple of years, not more, it was even a Roman province. But as I said, most of the time it was a client state. So we will try to not become a Roman province. I actually don't know how Romans will do on their in this playthrough, but hopefully they won't do all that good. Yeah, I guess this is enough for the introduction, and let's start the game. So let me welcome you to our own city of Armavir. As I said before, this is a really hard game playing as Hayasdan. Now, as you can see, the map is significantly larger. There's a lot of cities everywhere, and Rome itself, Italy, was enlarged. There are new territories in Britain, and actually there's a part of Sweden and Norway. Oh, and also a part of Finland as well. I'm gonna use this first video as an introduction, so let's just look around and see how we're doing. So even if we increase our taxes to very high, we're still losing over 1,000 minae per turn. So money is definitely gonna be a huge problem. This is what the game challenges us to do to become a victor in the campaign as Hayasdan. As you can see, it's pretty much all of Greece, of Anatolia, today's Turkey, Egypt, and I'm not sure if this is all territory, but most of the territory of Seleucia. And I'm not actually sure if we are supposed to get parts of Phraaspa as well, but it is well possible that actually if this is the province we have now, if this one would be, I'm not actually sure, but it's well possible that yeah, probably this province. This one is owned by Phraaspa, so we will have to face them at some point. Now, when we look at our relations, we have two enemies, the Eleuteroi, which are the neutral cities that are nobody's friend or real foe. They do not attack you unless, well, they can attack you at certain setups, but most of the time they will leave you alone. And we have the enemies in Phraaspa, which is our northern enemy. We have a lot of allies though. We have the Archeseleucia as allies, we have Bactria as allies, we have Pontus as allies and Pahlava as allies. So basically all the area around us at this point is safe, but from my experience it won't be for long. Especially if Archesalokia declares war on us, then we are pretty much fucked and it's game over for us. So let's hope that's not gonna happen. Looking at our family tree, we have 3 family members that are adults, and a lot of children actually. Our faction leader is Yervanduni, which has 3 command, 1 management and 2 influence. As I said before, there's a lot of traits in Europa Barbarorum which are much more complicated in the original game. Let's look at the retinue first. He has a chief eunuch and a spear carrier. His traits are Arkach. Arkach, the king, faction leader. Being the leader of a faction gives this man a certain amount of power and influence regardless of his ability. +2 influence, +1 morale for all the troops on battlefield, +1 command, +2 law, +3 personal security. These are just the Hayasdan victory conditions. For this man to successfully complete the faction's objectives, he must destroy or outlast the Archesalokia and own Arbela, Kalabaka, Armavir. So we have to destroy Archesalokia and get all of these provinces. He's feeling his age, which means he has less movement and -1 to hit points. He's grizzled. This man has commanded many battles and is well accustomed to war. He has commanded in at least 9 battles. His experience makes his men more confident. This is the ethnicity. He's Azlakan Yervanduni, the noble of House of Yervand. This man hails from the blood of Yervand the First, a prince of Bactria and satrap of Hayasdan, under the rule of Archaemenid dynasty of Persia. The family name offers him much influence in the region as befits a son of Yervanduni, who in their time as kings of Hayasdan have defied the Persians, the Macedonians and now the Seleucids. As with Most High, they are welcoming to strangers, but are also more likely to welcome the influence of Hellenic culture. They are adept at commanding the predominantly cavalry armies of Hayasdan, though they are far less likely to utilize infantry to their full potential. This trait has an effect on the acquisition of certain other traits. He's a talented leader, +1 command. He's a good tactician, +1 command. He's a bureaucrat, +1 management, +1 law. He's bloody, which gives us morale boost. He has confident troops. This man's troops are confident in his abilities as a general. +1 to morale. These actually are the true 2 major trait stacks which each of the characters in the game gets in Europa Barbarorum. These are the social skills and these are personal skills. I'm not sure what they called. So for example, he's sharp, uncharismatic and vigorous. He can be different in each of these. This man's low social skills make him ill-suited for public speaking or politics, but his intelligence and vitality could be put to use as a village general or efficient governor. He might not be the most aspiring leader, but men are better served by an able leader than a flashy one. His intelligence, which is sharp, that decides on how well the character processes and retains information. His high intelligence means it will be easier for him to advance in intelligence-based skills such as management, mathematics, and tactics. Charisma, he's uncharismatic. How well the character gets along with people or gets them to do what he says. This can be through garnering respect, love, or just intimidation. His low charisma means it will be difficult for him to advance in charisma-based skills such as influence, leadership, or inspiring speeches. and his vitality is vigorous. How much ambition, energy, and health the character possesses. This man's high vitality means it will be easier for him to advance in vitality-based skills, such as Brave, Bloodthirsty, or gain additional hit points through Hale and Hearty. So, as I said, this guy is pretty much, well, the game said that as well, that he's also, well, basically that's a perfect description. He's ill-suited for public speaking, but he could be good general. He's 60 though, so we won't have him for long. And he's selfish, optimistic, and loyal. This man is sure that things will turn out right, that authorities and luck are on his side. He does what he wants, believing he is on the right side of things, and the winning side as well. Game effects. This man's selfishness means it will be more likely for him to fall into vices and immorality, such as lying, cheating, stealing, or worse. His optimism means he is not likely to be deterred when things don't go his way. You can get traits like gloomy, depressed, and stuff. So having optimistic characters is really good. There's nothing worse when you have a bad leader stuck in a city being sieged, and he gets gloomy, depressed, and then suicidal, so you're pretty much fucked at that point. And his self-confidence and lack of regard for others can even result in... I'm reading the correct paragraph. His self-confidence and lack of regard for others can even result in disaster for those under his command. However, his obedient nature and his faith in his superiors or fear of them may keep him in line. And his Garoon. I forgot to mention, Europa Barbarorum adds 2 more seasons, so Garoon is spring, when the world is reborn and life shoots from the harsh cold of the ground. So we have 4 seasons for each game year. Of course, spring, summer, autumn, and winter. Let's check the other readers, shall we? We have... Come on, mouse, what's wrong with you? So, sorry for that. For a moment I had a problem with my mouse. I don't know if the batteries are getting low or whatever. Let's not ponder about that too much and go to our other characters.
My ears are yours.
We have a spy who's called Mitranes Yervanduni, so he's part of the family. He has a courtesan as a retinue, which gives him +1 to agent skill. He's an expert spy, +4 to agent skill, and a line of sight, so he's really good. And he's only 20, he's youthful and trained. So that's good.
Sire?
We have a diplomat who's called Artaxias Yervanduni, who has no retinue and is diplomatic and trained, which gives him +1 influence and 10 to movement.
Sire!
10% to movement. And this is one of our sons, Artavast Yervanduni. He has a larger retinue, has a spear carrier, a drinking companion. Eat, drink, and be merry, for tomorrow we'll do it all over again. -1 to unrest. -1 command when defending. And Freeman Kirk, an able and loyal assistant in the day-to-day business of a government. +10% bonus on all trade income. One thing that I really enjoy about Europa Barbarorum is it's almost impossible to get a guy who has both great command, management, and influence. It's always 1 or 2 of it, but never 3, which makes the game much more fun. This guy is mature. This is again Aznavkan Yervanduni. This is the House of Yervand, which has an effect on acquisition of certain traits. If we get people married in the family, they will have different gens or genes in them. It's called gens in Roman, the Roman state of which you can. Sorry, I'm babbling. When you play Roman, it's called gens Cornelia or anything else, depending on what family they come of. In this one, it's called, I guess, Aznavakan, probably. Let's move on. This guy has understanding of tactics, +2 command when ambushing, +1 to line of sight. So he's a good ambusher. He's a bureaucrat, +1 management, +1 law. He has an understanding of mathematics, +1 management and bonus on trade income. He's an occasional drinker. He's a sharp, uncharismatic, and vigorous. I think it's the same as
awaiting your command.
his father.
My ears are yours.
Orders!
Yeah, it's exactly the same as his father. His father's selfish, unoptimistic,
serve
and
your
loyal.
Your humble servant.
Yeah,
My
he's
liege.
the same, selfish, optimistic, and loyal. So, you know, he's a son anyways. But he's green. This man has yet to see a real battle, or to give orders which will put his men in jeopardy. He's heard that battles are very exciting though. His lack of experience prevents a true understanding of command. The men under his command are most likely to lack confidence in him. You can see that he has 0 command. You will very rarely have a command brazen guy who has not been in battle. And we should have one more son somewhere.
Sire!
Yes, this is our Factionheir Samus, or Samus.
Mighty general!
This one is Artavast, and this is
Orders!
Samus is a commander. He's Avak Sepuch, Crown Prince. Oh, Factionheir. Being the Factionheir gives this man a certain amount of power, +1 influence, +2 personal security. He's middle-aged, which lowers his movement. He's a veteran. This man has seen his share of battles and knows the likely results. He has been at least in 4 battles. Again, the family. He's a talented leader, good tactician, bureaucrat, trader. Firstborn, +1 influence. He's the eldest child of the ruler. Confident troops, +1 to morale of all troops. Sharp, charismatic, vigorous. So this guy is charismatic. There are few men who excel in all they do. This man may be one of those few. At least he lacks any glaring weaknesses in his intellect, charisma, or vitality. This gives him a head start, but it does not mean he has already won the race. So this might be a really good leader. And, you know, for that reason he's our Factionheir. And he's unselfish, optimistic, and loyal. This man cares about others and tries to help them. Interesting. And are those all?
Orders!
Yes, those are
My
all of
eyes
our
are
characters.
yours.
So let's do a skim through our armies as the last thing. And then in the next part we will actually do something. So Armavir, our own city, has the faction leader. And we have 2 units of Caucasian Archers and Caucasian Spearmen, which are the Caucasian Spearmen. The Archers are called Caucasian Netadzik. Caucasian Archers are quite good in this game. They are one of the best. They have really high missile attack. Their, melee and defense isn't all that good, but again, their missile attack is really good. They can hide in long grass, have a bonus versus elephants. They get a combat bonus in the woods, have long range missiles. You can use flaming arrows, good morale, and very good stamina. So they will be good when running from the battle. Description: in the mountains of the Caucasus and the highlands below, the people have lived a long and healthy existence, sustained as they are from the surplus fruits of the fertile valleys and rich mineral seams. But their history has also been strife, for their mountain kingdoms are highly prized by those of the fertile crescent below. Not only the spear and sling, but also the bow are used by these hardy mountain men who protect their land from foreign looking for dominion, and even rival kingdoms within the Caucasus region who seek to expand their lands. Lightly equipped, these archers are used to the trying terrain of the Caucasus. Oh, they are used to the trying terrain of the Caucasus, and their training is more for light skirmishes than heavy battle upon an open field. That's correct, because once they get attacked, they're pretty much fucked. Yeah, yet though they may find themselves fighting outside of home territory on the flat plains of the lands to the south, they should not be underestimated. Their bows are well made, learned from the steppe nomads beyond the northern mountains and the Persians who conquered them later. They wear little in the way of armor, a leather jerkin over a warm woolen tunic which offers little in the way of protection. Other than the bow, they carry a short knife or other such simple melee weapon, as they are not trained for and not meant for combat at close quarters. Historically, the Caucasus region was not well known for its archery. It was the cavalry that they were famous for. However, they undoubtedly used the bow, just as they used sling and javelin. Xenophon was unlucky enough to find himself at the wrong end of the varying tactics of such a people. The Carduchi, who may have been an ancestors to the modern-day Kurds, as he and his force battled through the Caucasus highlands to the southern shore of the Black Sea. Xenophon mentions that the bow of the Carduchi used was 3 cubits long, whilst the arrow was 2 cubits itself. Xenophon further reports that when discharging the arrow, they draw the string by getting a purchase with the left foot planted forward on the lower end of the bow. The arrows pierced through shields and cuirass, and the Hellenes, when they got hold of them, used them as javelins, fitting them to their thongs. Powerful weapons indeed. Well, we will use the archers undoubtedly. The Caucasian Barbara, on the other hand, I encountered them as well in my previous playthroughs, and they suck so much. They are very expensive, but these guys are about half the strength of Hastadii, which are one of the main early Roman units, but they cost about as much and don't even have a throw javelin. So the Caucasus range, hence mountains bred a fierce people, and these men drawn from the tribes of the Caucasus are fierce indeed. For centuries the tribes that inhabit these hostile climes have varied among the ominous and noble mountains, and their harsh lifestyle has bred a hardy people. The simple folk of the Caucasus region, men of farms and fields, livestock and grain, are grown into a world where knowledge of sling, bow, javelin and spear are as necessary as the written word is for the Hellenes. A sling will catch them a rabbit, a javelin or bow will keep predators from their flock, and a spear will protect them from the neighbor's envious eyes. These life skills, learned amongst the mountains, make for hardy warriors, braver and more fearsome than the city folk of the plains below. Well, I beg to differ. These Caucasian spearmen are armed with a simple spear held underarm, and a Tuar's shield introduced into Anatolia during the Galatian invasions. They wear no armor, such a luxury cannot be afforded, and instead simply wear the clothes of normal everyday use, a tunic tied to the waist and loose-fitting trousers. When fighting they form a solid wall of shields, their spears a fearsome barrier against oncoming attacks. However, these men are not disciplined, they have no formal training in warfare beyond what the most experienced warriors of a tribe can impart, and they may break rank, leaving gaps that the enemy can exploit. Yet they do form the backbone of the armies that wage war beyond the shadows of the Caucasus range, and perhaps beyond. If we ever get away from this area, we will have to change the main unit. For this moment, they are our main armies. There's just another unit we could recruit, which is the Pantodapoi, which is the Hellenic native spearmen, which is equally as bad. They even cost the same amount, so but I have one soldier more. This is the only difference. Oh, and they have a less bonus in charge, so yeah. These two units will, for the time being, form our main main bulk.
Mighty
As you
General!
can see, each of the units
My
have some of
liege.
them. The capital of Armavir having even the archers. We have
My
one
liege.
more unit, which is
My liege!
our Factionheir, who has the Gundi Pauta, which are the eastern skirmishers, who suck as well. These guys can hide in the long grass and has a bonus versus elephants and chariots. Good morale, very good stamina, fast moving, and can sap. Did I go through this? Experts at hiding in woods, combat bonus in woods. So these guys are good in wood fights, which is great because we have none here. May charge without orders. Yeah, that's always great. Good morale, very good stamina, fast moving. So at least they have a good stamina. The Gundi Pauta, armed with nothing but a small shield and a handful of javelins, these men risk their lives in closing with the enemy with only the lightest of equipment. These men deploy in a cloud before the heavy infantry dashing back and forth to release their deadly missiles. These infantry skirmishers fought in open formations so as to maximize the number of men able to get a throw and minimize the effect of enemy missiles. Lacking armor, training and heavy weapons, these light infantry stand no chance if committed to melee. What a surprise. Do they really have lower attack? Yeah, they do. They have the same attack as the archers.
My liege!
And they have a lower missile attack. But they have higher lethality, I think. But I'm not sure. Historically, most armies in the classic periods found use for poorly equipped levies as skirmishers, very often as javelin men, as these troops required relatively little training and financial investment, relying mostly on widespread natural skills and scanned gear while still providing some useful service. So it's pretty much, it's a cannon fodder. And the last unit we have as a starting one is Aspet Hetzelazor, which is an Armenian medium cavalry. The cavalry of Armenians is really good. It's really expensive though. Has a 11 attack and 27 charge bonus, so it's 38. And this unit, it's 9 in the stock form. They have 2 experience. They have excellent morale, powerful charge, very good stamina, and they are fast moving. We will have to take good care of this unit because it's so expensive but so useful if you know how to use them. One of my Roman armies was crashed by these guys because they just, routed all of them. These soldiers are armed with spear that is used as a thrusting weapon in an overhand grip rather than as a lance. While this makes them unlikely to mount a charge on their own, it does make the spear far more maneuverable, and these men are adept at putting that to use. A deadly tabar axe is used when the clash of battle eventually breaks the spear. While unable to stand up to a charge of Parthian cataphracts or shatter a Seleucid phalanx, they can hold their own against medium and light cavalry or break lighter infantry. A conical Persian helmet of iron with a brightly colored plume is worn. Their armor is a scale cuirass with a scale shoulder guards and stiffened leather pteruges hanging from the waist and over loose richly embroidered trousers. A long-sleeved tunic extending down to just above the knees is secured by a leather belt. The horse has a stuffed Persian saddle and thick bright-colored saddlecloth. Historically, the Armenian Azat were lesser nobles, and the Aspet, or knights, provided the powerful spine of the Armenia's cavalry wing, often the prestigious and most efficient branch of Armenian armies. So we will want to have a lot of these guys later on, but for now our bulk will be these terrible poor guys with some archers behind them. Not a great prospect, but as I said, this game is ranked nigh impossible, and it will do its best to prove that. So yeah, this is all for the introduction, and in the next part we will actually start playing the game. And I hope we will get to at least part 5, because this can turn into a huge failure.